Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Breathe Motivation. My name's Anthony Hester. I'm the host for this show. My goal is to help you find purpose and passion in everything you do on a day-to-day basis, and that's why I'm here. So, thanks for joining. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another episode, right? So, let's get started. Man, it's always rough doing this. I always have a hard time sharing some flaws. So I've got a confession, right? And that's going to be the definition today. So let me give you the definition. It's acknowledgement, avowal, or admission. That's a confession, right? I always get so uncomfortable sharing my flaws. You know why? Because I have this trouble with perfectionism. But I'm going to give you a confession today. And I love confessions, right? There's so many great songs that I hear that remind me and take me, confessions, I don't know if any of you guys are R&B fans, but I love Usher. These Are My Confessions. That was the biggest album of like 2003 or 2004. I don't remember, but it was a great album. I love the Foo Fighters. I got another confession to make. I'm no fool. I won't quit my J job. I like to sing every once in a while, bring a little bit of change. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I can sing for your wedding if you like, if you're getting married anytime soon. No, I'm just kidding. But I got a confession. It was funny. I was reading a book that I bought at Target like 7-8 months ago. And it always kind of creeps up in my life when, I need to have some fresh reminders and being grateful for the things that I have. And it's a book called Happiness Is. And it's like 500 ways that you can find happiness. And it's by Lisa Swirling and Ralph Lazar. It's an animated book, and I think it's a really cool book. And it really gives me a lot of perspective. And one of the things that popped up, here's my confession. I'm not a know-it-all, right? I think a lot of, over the last couple of weeks, I've had people tell me, oh, well, hey, you don't know everything. And they're kind of angry with me. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I don't know everything. And sometimes I feel like I maybe come across as I think sometimes I can be opinionated, or people ask me for their opinion and I give them feedback and they're like, oh, well, you don't know everything, and get angry with me. But, that's kind of the process, right? Anytime you ask for feedback, it's very easy for us to get defensive. And what I learned from that was in the last couple of weeks, and even this book, is that we've got to be able to accept people for who they are. And I think that is a tough thing for a lot of us to learn. And I know that it's very hard. Because, a big struggle for us is, one, it's hard to accept people for who they are if you don't accept yourself for who you are. The only thing that we know and that we can change is ourselves. And that's what a lot of us, really sometimes fail to even think about sometimes. Our thoughts go so crazy and so wild, we start judging people, or, we're like, man, I wish this person would be a little bit better in this section or this section. So, we lose focus on the relationships that we have and the greatness that we do have in some of these relationships by looking at judging people and not accepting them for who they are. And I think a lot of us, for me personally, I can kind of confuse those things. For a long time, I would, accept, this criticism or accept these things, these judgments upon myself, and I would beat myself up pretty hard, and I would take an abuse or, this process. And it was very hard for me to process that. And I would take it personal, and it created a lot of stress and anger, resentment sometimes. And I think that's what happens when we judge people, or people feel like they are being judged. But I noticed that, you've got to be able to accept yourself within your skin, and feel really comfortable within your skin. And it's really tough, right? Over my 30 years, it's been very hard for me to, sometimes accept me for me, because I want to, strive to be perfect. I want to be perfect for everybody. And guess what? You can't, right? And what I've learned is you can't be perfect for everybody. And not everybody's going to like me, right? That was something I always struggled with. I want people to like me. And a lot of times it's like you have to be fake for, I have to be fake sometimes, put on a mask and, do all these things that I hate doing just for people to like me. And it's a lot of work, and it causes a lot of stress. And, I start stressing out about all these things. And a lot of people tend to do that. And I want you guys to know that it is great to be able to accept yourself for who you are. Accept yourself for your flaws. Be willing to accept yourself exactly who you are today. And know that if you don't like something, you can change it. And sometimes you feel like, for a long time, I would always think, oh, I have to change this to be better. And yeah, great, I would make changes, and then I wasn't happy with those changes. And I'm like, oh, great, so I did all this change for nothing. But I learned that, I've got to be comfortable in my own skin. And that's where you create, these kind of, I guess, laws by which you live by, your values. What are your values and what are you willing to accept? And that's what you've got to do. When people tell me, hey, you don't know everything, maybe they felt attacked, and I had to like kind of draw back and say, oh, maybe I was a little bit harsh on feedback. They're asking for feedback, and I could have been a little bit more, I guess, I don't know what the word would be, maybe a little bit more coachable, or, a little bit more fluid in how I explain things to them, or, just a little bit more tactful, I guess. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when it came down to it, it's very easy for us to get in and, in a shell and not accept people for who they are. And just knowing that when you talk to people and, maybe somebody makes you angry, and you've got to really kind of look at that thought and say, why is this person making me so angry? What is it that I see in them that is creating, kind of a trigger, is how I look at it. Somebody will say something and it kind of triggers me, and I'm like, what the heck? Why is this person, thinking this way? But we've got to be able to accept people for who they are and where they are. Not everybody is going to be the same. And that's kind of something we've talked about before, those cookie cutter lifestyles. None of us are all, we're all unique. We're all meant to be different. And what I've noticed is, as I've gotten older and I've been more open to people and not really, and meeting them where they're at and accepting them for who they are and where they're at, it's really helped me to, really ease my stress. It's been a lot more freedom, a lot more happiness. My relationships have gotten better because I don't want to change anybody. My goal is not to change anybody. If I'm going to change anybody, it's me. And that's where we've got to get better at, right? That's how we get better. That's how we, really help ourselves with those stresses. I know people will feel that resentment. People get jealous. People are angry. You feel all these feelings in your body, and it just creates a havoc, right? So you've got to be able to let that go and let people go. One of the biggest things that I would tell you is that, accepting people for who they are is great, and you've got to have some kind of empathy. But at the same time, that does not give people the ability to step all over you, right? There are going to be people that, hey, I can accept from where they're at. I know their experiences. They've told me their experiences, and I can really accept them for that. But I will not allow people to run all over me. I'm not going to allow them to get in my head and control my feelings and manipulate all these things, right? So you've got to be willing to accept people for where they are, but you don't have to keep people where they are. It's one of those things that I've learned is that people are always going to do what's best for them. And that's important, right? In order for you to find success within your life and your journey, you've got to be able to focus on yourself. And as you focus on yourself, you get better and your relationships get better because you're accepting yourself, you're accepting your journey, you're accepting the people around you for who they are. Some people are going to fit into your journey. Some people are going to exit your journey. And I think that's a hard part for some people to, accept. It's very hard to accept that, you might not like everybody. One of the things that I struggled with was people liking me. I wanted people to like me. And I went through all these twists and turns to get people to like me. And it was not who I was. And I got very lost. It's the same thing for a lot of you. You've got to be able to let go and be the best for you. Don't change yourself to fit into a mold of people that probably don't deserve that. You've got to, you deserve greatness in your life and deserve great people in your life. So don't carry on people in your life that just don't fit that mold, or try to make that mold or make excuses for them to fit that mold because you're afraid of loneliness. You're afraid of, what if I don't, I let this friend go and I don't have any more friends. It's okay. The best friend that you have is yourself, but you're always going to find friends. You're always going to find people that are going to make you better and help you to realize the better person you are. Surround yourself with great people and not people that are going to tear you down. That's one thing that I always had to, I always felt bad. I was like, I had this friend, I have this friend, but I honestly, when I look at it, I just don't like them, but I'm hanging around with them. Why would I do that? Right. So I'm sure a lot of you guys do that with your coworkers, your friends. Also one of the things that I've learned is accepting people for who they are. As a coach and a manager in some of my jobs, I think, one of the quickest things that I used to judge on was, hey, people getting promoted, right? If you don't want to get promoted and you want to just stay in your sales job, like why? And that's okay for people, and accepting that's what people want to do. Not everybody wants to be a manager, or climb up, the hill to get to the CEO level, or, to some level. We've got to accept them for where they're at. They're not any less of a person because they choose not to do the things that you want to go after. And I think that's something that we have to kind of look at and see our thoughts and just kind of watch those as we have those thoughts about the people. Why do we have these certain feelings about these people? And, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Obviously you've got to be able to listen to, your intuition and know the people that are going to be great for you and the people that aren't. That's the best thing you can do. But, accepting people for who they are and where they're at creates freedom within your life. It creates the freedom for your relationships to get better. It creates more happiness because you guys are all happy because you're not judging each other and having conversations that make no sense or don't have to happen because you're not judging people. And then it creates relief, right? You've relieved of all these, this stress and this pressure to create relationships that really shouldn't be created. So accepting people for who they are and where they are is a great tool for you to have. You've got to be able to take and accept yourself first, and that will allow you to accept others as they are and really kind of make a better life for you. I mean, that's what it's going to do, is create a better life and create a freedom within you. So I wanted to share that, leave you with that. So I'm going to leave you with this quote: happiness is accepting people for who they are, right? That's from that book. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Breathe Motivate. Check out my Facebook page, Breathe Motivation. Check out my website, breathemotivation.com. You can find all of our old episodes there. And yeah, just go out there and live the best life for you. And I know that you will find greatness within your life, find greatness everywhere. So as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. And I'll see you next week. Thanks.